Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it's Saturday morning, and we're doing the Saturday Share the Love Club. And we're doing it for somebody who's not totally Raptors related today. And the reason why is because their contributions to the NBA are very deep and, very there. Let's just say, I'm going to say this right now. One of the most influential people in the last 30 years in the NBA is Gregg Popovich. That's just the truth. There's a lot of copying of the Spurs franchise all over the place. And the Raptors are guilty of this. The Raptors are guilty of copycatting the San Antonio Spurs at times during their history. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. It's kind of ironic and crazy that Gregg Popovich has been with the Spurs for so long. Seriously, this is not normal at all. This is the longest tenure with any person with a team in any sport. Seriously. Gregg Popovich being with the Spurs since 1994, y'all. 1994. What is that? That's like 31 years now that he's been a part of their team. You know, the first job he had with the Spurs is the one he has now, director of basketball operations. He wasn't the coach when he started. He was the director of basketball operations. And then he got got Larry Brown out of there, and he went ahead and took the job himself. Or it was Bob Hill, one of the two of them. And he started coaching the team then. You know, today is Armed Services Day. And I don't know, that's not a normal holiday that everybody takes a big note of unless you are in armed services and you want to do something. But Gregg Popovich is a part of the armed services. He was in the Air Force, y'all. And he coached the Air Force team. And he served in the Air Force. In fact, he was intelligence. He studied Soviet studies. And he also was smart enough and could have, in another life, gone and worked for the CIA. Yeah, I bet y'all didn't know that about Gregg Popovich, that he studied Soviet studies in the Cold War, and that he was an intelligence officer that was trained, and he could have gone on a job path into working for the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States. That's pretty impressive. You know, we found out yesterday that the mayor of San Antonio wants to rename the airport in San Antonio to Gregg Popovich Airport. That's a big deal. I mean, seriously, who gets renamed airports after them? John Wayne, Ronald Reagan, John F. Kennedy, presidents. And the fact that the city of San Antonio is going to rename their airport to Gregg Popovich Airport, that is a huge deal. And it says a lot to his impact. Seriously. You know, Kyle Lowry got a street named after him in Toronto, but this man's going to get an airport named after him. That's a big deal, y'all. That's a really, really big deal. You know, Gregg Popovich had such an amazing run of making the playoffs every single year since he started coaching up until 6 years ago, and then he never made it again. That it was like one of the longest streaks ever of not missing the playoffs, making the playoffs almost every single year as the Spurs were in there. You know, he's an icon. And, you know, last year I did a Share the Love Club for Hubie Brown. And it was because of his long work for the NBA as a commentator and him retiring last year. And I just felt like, you know, there's just figures in the NBA that, you know, supersede the teams or what they do. And they're just somebody that needs to be honored. And that's why I feel like we need to share the love for Gregg Popovich. Seriously, he is, you know, he does have things to do with the Raptors, not directly, but he's had things to do with us. I think from afar, Gregg Popovich has always kind of liked the Raptors and thought that kind of like, you know what, they're the plucky Canadian team that's tough and dealing with different things that we don't have to deal with in the States. And, you know, in some ways, I think he's admired Masai and Bobby and what they've done and how they won the championship in 2019. I mean, it's always seemed like the Spurs have been a friendly trading partner with us. We've made pretty regular trades with them in the last 10 years. The Spurs are one of the teams that we're open to talk to, and we'll deal with them. You know, and, you know, once again, I'm going to say this. Darko comes from Gregg Popovich's coaching tree. In a weird way, he does. It's not totally true, but it is kind of true. I mean, in some ways you could say, well, Darko was a scout. He wasn't really a coach underneath Popovich, but he was. He came back. He came to the States initially under Popovich. First, he was a European scout for him in the early 2000s, scouting for the Spurs. And then eventually Gregg brought him over, and he did a little bit of work on site in San Antonio for the Spurs then. So in some ways, we got to thank Gregg Popovich for helping our coach be here in the NBA at the point where he is to be able to be the head coach of the Toronto Raptors. You know, he's one of dozens and dozens and dozens. That's why I say the impact of Gregg Popovich is huge on the NBA, because he's touched so many coaches' lives that are involved in the NBA. Steve Kerr is not Steve Kerr without Gregg Popovich. Mike Budenholzer is not Mike Budenholzer without Gregg Popovich. Ime Udoka is not Ime Udoka without Gregg Popovich. So he's just got such a huge shadow that he has cast over the NBA as far as who he is and what he's done, and the idea of dynasties and how to perpetually keep your team in a good, winning, successful mode over a long period of time. The fact that they could be in the playoffs every year for so long is really a testament to really, really excellent front office, along with developing talent underneath, coming up with the talent above all along. But I mean, some of the credit does go to Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and the way that they were leaders and the way that they facilitated that. But Gregg Popovich was the captain, the leader, the coach, the guy who was directing a lot of it. Another reason why I really, really, really deeply admire Gregg Popovich is he's outspoken. He's not afraid to say what's right. And in some ways, it's sad that in some ways he's had a stroke now and he has to step down as a coach, but he'll still be involved in the NBA. And I hope to God he'll still take a microphone and espouse his views politically about things that are going on in this world. Because honestly, he is right. When Gregg Popovich talks about something politically, he is right. Because in some ways, he has everything to lose and nothing to gain from speaking about politics in his position. And he's only saying what's true and right. And people that don't like Gregg Popovich for his politics, you're a bad person. I'm going to say this right now, because he only comes at politics from a humanitarian sense of looking out for people that need looking out for. And if you don't like Gregg Popovich for his politics, well, you're on the wrong side of the politics right now. I'm going to say this right now. If you're like, oh, I love Gregg Popovich as a coach of the Spurs, but dang it, I wish he'd just shut up and coach and stop talking about politics. You're an idiot if that's your opinion on him, because he's been one of the most intelligent political voices in sports in the last 10, 15 years. You know, his disciple, Steve Kerr, is the same way. And he will speak out on politics also, because it matters. It matters. And these are men that know all about politics. The son of a diplomat and a man that I just told you was studying to be possibly in the CIA. You know, these guys are going to know they come from intelligent backgrounds. I mean, that's what Steve Kerr's dad was a diplomat. And that in some ways, you know, Steve Kerr was around that kind of thing. Gregg Popovich around that kind of thing. These are the kind of people that should be making political statements, because they're educated and they understand the situations. And I love Pop. I thought Popovich, when he first took the job, I was like, man, he's kind of just shady. He just wants to take this job now because, things are happening with Tim Duncan and David Robinson, and he could see that there's championships coming. But I have to give him credit, because that's really what I thought at the time when he was the boss and he fired the coach and he took the coaching job himself initially, way, way back when that first happened. When I saw that happen back then, I was like, man, he's greedy. He just wants to take the credit and get the championships as the coach. And in some ways, I saw Riley doing the same thing in Miami a couple years later. But I don't fault him for it. And honestly, he came by it honest, and he did the job damn well. And my opinion of him doing that changed very drastically as the Spurs championships rolled in over the next 10 years after that. The fact that he won 5 championships over like a 15-year period is amazing. It's amazing. The Spurs dynasty is Gregg Popovich. The Spurs dynasty is Tim Duncan. And in some ways, it's just it has to be celebrated. There has to be love shown for this because once again, there's a lot that Gregg Popovich did in San Antonio that's copycat around the league, including by our people here in Toronto. And I wouldn't have it any other way. They showed the way to do it. I mean, I can't think of how many times in the 2010s I said, we need to do this like the Spurs do it. We got to do this like the Spurs do it. Masai, do this like the Spurs do it. Because the template and the blueprint for success is right down there in San Antonio, running by Gregg Popovich. So, yeah, as you can tell, I admire the man deeply. I'm sad that he has to end his coaching career, but I'm glad that he can be back in his original position as director of basketball operations for the San Antonio Spurs. And, yeah, it's just it's a new era. Mitch Johnson will be the coach this year coming up. And, Pop got a little bit of time with Wemby, but not exactly as much as we thought he would. But, yeah, y'all, if y'all have things you want to share the love about Gregg Popovich, I mean, let's just bring up his relationship with DeMar and that whole thing about DeMar getting traded to them and how, in some ways, if DeMar had been traded to any other team other than San Antonio, I think that his fallout depression-wise would have been worse. Would have been absolutely worse. In some ways, we may have lost DeMar in some sort of ways. I hope, God forbid, totally, but we may have lost some of him in some sort of ways if he had not landed on San Antonio in that trade and was helped through things by Coach Popovich. We know the connection and the bond between DeMar DeRozan and Gregg Popovich is very deep and strong, and it's not uncommon with him and a lot of his players. The fact that Ginobili and Duncan are around him at the end of his career and like hanging out with him like up close, that's not common. It's not common where the former players come around and they're very supportive and publicly there next to him. And some of the stuff that's gone on this last year with Gregg Popovich. So I'm just saying that's a testament to how much his players love him and care about him. And I know that all this news this year about Gregg has bothered DeMar because he has such a special connection with him. And the fact that, we hear the story about when DeMar's dad died and how Popovich was there for him and all that kind of stuff. And that in some ways, there's another reason to love Coach Popovich because he was there for one of our GOATs when one of our GOATs needed him absolutely so badly at that time when we traded him for Kawhi. And then his father died, and he went through so many different mental challenges. And Gregg Popovich may have been one of the people that helped DeMar find answers to some of the problems that he was dealing with to try and cope with what was going on. And to me, that's a beautiful thing, man. Humans helping humans, like that is a beautiful thing to me. So, yeah, I could go on and on about Gregg Popovich and why he's so great. I mean, I could go to his Wikipedia and I'll just read off like his amazing resume of what he's done. He has been the sustained success of the Spurs from the 90s into the 2000s. It's just amazing. He has the most wins of any coach in the NBA's history. He's widely regarded as one of the greatest coaches of all time. So, of course, we got to transcend the divide of Spurs and Raptors and say, look, this is an NBA guy, and this is an NBA person, and the whole entire league needs to celebrate him. Not just Spurs Nation, not just San Antonio, but the whole entire league needs to celebrate the icon that Gregg Popovich is. Seriously, this man is like that. And in some ways, that's why we all need to give him his just due. That's what I'm saying right there. So, yeah, if y'all have anything you want to share and love towards Coach Popovich, please share it in the comments. We're going to do all the regular stuff on the Saturday Share the Love Club today. Classic card, Instagram stories, Reddit reactions. And tomorrow, we've got a special Sunday report. I'm going to do my annual ref report. I'm going to crunch all the numbers later today. And I'm going to come back with our best refs and our worst refs from this past season. All the records of all the refs for the Raptors this season, I will go over them and we will talk about where we stood with the guys that referee the game and where we were in good places and bad places with them. Who was the best ref to the Raptors this year? Who was the worst ref to the Raptors this year? I will have all that information for you, the numbers crunch, tomorrow on the Sunday report, 9:30 a.m. This is a fun one. This annual ref report is always fun because we kind of see who, sometimes some of the good refs that we've had in the past go bad. And some of the bad refs we've had in the past all of a sudden show a really a nice trend of being nice to the Raptors. So we'll have to see how it's flipped this year. Like, how was our record under Tony Brothers, y'all? Y'all want to find out? We'll tell you about it tomorrow. That's right. All right, let's check in with the chat and see what you guys are saying right here. Trevor J, always first in, Commissioner of Fun. Trevor J, good morning to you, sir. He's saying, don't be afraid to start over again this time. You're not starting from scratch. Don't let failure keep you back this time. You're starting from experience. There you go. Yeah, sometimes you just got to turn the page and start anew. And this is a really good sentiment to tell. It's like you're not starting from square one. You have experience. You have things that you learned from the last time. And this is different than starting from scratch. Definitely true. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. And yeah, I wish everyone good luck with whatever they're trying to do. That's right. As long as it's good and wholesome and good for the world. That's right. Trevor's saying the Knicks sent the Celtics back home with the L's. Worst beatdown last night. My goodness. My goodness. All right, y'all did it. I don't know how to do this, man. Like, in some ways, New York has collected the bounty on the Boston Celtics to eliminate them from this. I'm so happy. There will be no Boston repeat. Thank God. The Knicks fans were in the streets like crazy last night. Their jubilation. They did it at home court. They did it in a way that I thought they wouldn't, because in some ways I thought they were tired. Yeah, they routed them. They did not make it close. They absolutely destroyed the Celtics last night. And Ed Malloy, the game was not close enough for you to do what you were supposed to do. Some ways, maybe they knew that. Maybe Tom Thibodeau told Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, y'all need to kick their ass and not let this game be close, because if this game is close, at the end of the game, Ed Malloy will screw us over, guys. I'm saying this right now. So if y'all really, really want to win, you got to go all out and rout them. And they did. They routed the hell out of the Boston Celtics. That game wasn't even close. By halftime, it was over. And I'm proud of them. I'm proud of you guys for doing this. This is something the Knicks have not done in a long, long time. They're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. They haven't been there in a long, long time. There's Karthika of TSN Stats was saying on Blue Skies last night, the last time the Knicks went to the Eastern Conference Finals, Rick Brunson played for them, Jalen's dad. And Jalen Brunson was like 4 years old. That's something right there, man. That's something. Well, let's go Pacers. That's what I got to say to that. Let's go Rick Carlisle. Let's go Siakam. I'm firmly on the Pacers side in this situation. OG, I love you, but sorry, bro. I got to go with Siakam, and I got to go with Indiana, even though, either way. I mean, the great thing is right now in the playoffs, I'm pretty much happy with anybody winning. I'm kind of the least happy with New York. I don't want New York to win overall. I'm pretty happy with any of the other teams that are left in this playoff winning. If any of the other teams win, other than the Knicks, I'll be very, very happy. Indiana, sure. Oklahoma City, wow. Denver wins again. It's not the worst. It's not the worst. Minnesota, fantastic. But yeah, in some ways, now that the Knicks have knocked out the Celtics, my least favorite team in the playoffs is the Knicks. And I want them to get out now. I want them to get beat by Pascal. And I believe they'll do it. I mean, the depth for the Pacers is awesome. They're playing at a really interesting level. And something's going to catch up with the Knicks at some point with all of the over-grinding of their guys for so long this whole entire season. At some point, that is going to catch up with Thibodeau and the way he does things. And, well, we'll have to see. But congratulations, Knicks. How should I celebrate the Knicks eliminating the Boston Celtics to honor the Knicks? Should I just say bada bing, bada bang, bada bang? What is the Knicks celebration? I'll do it for them. I'll do it. I'll do whatever thing. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to Knicks culture, but I do want to kind of like celebrate because they've collected the bounty this year. The bounty was take out the Celtics, and well, good job, Knicks. You did it. I'm proud of you. DJ A to the L down in Tallahassee on the Top Flight nights. That's my guy, DJ A to the L. He's on V89. He's on a couple different radio channels around the Tallahassee area. He's an old DJ friend of mine from when I was on the radio. And he's a huge Knicks fan. Huge Knicks fan. He's going crazy right now. He's been posting a lot of pictures of Patrick Ewing lately, Patrick Ewing smiling, going, eh. So, yeah, I don't know. I may have to talk to Alan and find out how the New York Knicks celebrate, and maybe I'll do something on here in honor of the Knicks beating the Celtics yesterday. It was fantastic, man. Good job. I'm really happy the Celtics are out. This is really awesome. This is fantastic. Good job, guys. If you told me that the Celtics and the Cavs were not going to the Eastern Conference Finals at the beginning of this playoff, I would have been, man, that's tough to see. But now we can see it in reality right now. And that's fantastic, man. I mean, seriously, I'm pretty sure everybody had penciled in Boston and Cleveland to get pretty far in these playoffs. And neither one of them are in it still at this point. It's crazy. Trevor's saying the Knicks and the Indiana game 1 will be Wednesday, May the 21st at 8 p.m. So you can give them a little bit of rest. I don't like how much time Indiana's getting off, but if there's any nagging injuries, this is a very valuable time to heal up and feel better. And yeah, we'll have to see. This is going to be a fantastic series. They better, it's too bad we don't have the NBA on NBC already, because this is a series made for being covered by NBC. They did it the best back in the day. The NBA on NBC. And it's going to be Reggie Miller versus Michael Jordan. Stuff like that. Reggie Miller versus Patrick Ewing and the Knicks today on the playoffs. Spike Lee going to be sitting at courtside. Reggie Miller going to be sitting in the commentary. They're going to be mean mugging each other. Just like they were 20, 30 years ago. Yeah, I want to see that. Indiana, New York. Woo! That's a good one right there. That's some grudge match stuff. That's like Macho Man Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan. Yeah, we get grudge match for the Eastern Conference Finals. Old school style. Pacers and Knicks. Woo! Reggie Miller. Yeah, look out. Let's go. Let's go. That's right. There we go. Yeah, Trevor's saying that WNBA player Ray Burrell was carried off the court with a leg injury last night. She's on the Sparks, and she was on my fantasy team last night. And I have dropped her already and picked up a new player, Diamond Miller, having a good game last night. So I picked up Diamond Miller. I lost Diamond, the other Diamond, because she got hurt and waived. And now I got Diamond Miller playing for me. Yeah, WNBA Fantasy started last night. And we got some good matchups so far. MK, the champ, is over me after the first night of games. James is leading over Trucker Kaz. Mike's Logical Raptors Fanatics team is got the lead on Cool Cat right now. We also got Full Ass. Kareem is defeating JP so far. And Fiercey's leading her matchup and there also. So, yeah, we're looking around and seeing what's going on. People are dropping people, and the waiver wire has been active, and we are off and running with our fantasy WNBA season. So I appreciate everybody playing, and let's go. James is saying, Lex, who you got? Knicks or Pacers advancing? Well, I mean, my heart is with the Pacers. I want them to advance. In some ways, I want to see them build up. The Knicks have gotten further than they have in recent years, so they've gotten to their high spot. And, well, the Pacers were here last year. And in some ways, if we're going by the escalator of playoff, it's your time. It's your time. Well, the Pacers on the step above the Knicks because they were in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics last year and lost. Well, maybe it's this year. They got in the Eastern Conference Finals to beat the Knicks because it's their turn to get to the finals. I mean, they really do have to continue to do what they've done well with a very deep, equal effort with good outcomes from multiple Pacers, as far as what they're doing with scoring, and they should be able to beat the Knicks because the Knicks are playing 6 or 7 guys and the Pacers are playing 10. And I hope that this is what is going to happen. So I'm fully 100% behind Indiana. I'm not waffling on this. Some Raptors fans are like, I can't choose Anunoby, Siakam. I can't choose. Well, I can. And I'm going with Pascal and cock that joint back and bang on them, James Johnson. Yeah, I'll pick them, those two old Raptors, over OG, DeLon, Precious, and that sneaker weirdo, PJ Tucker. Yeah, we're going to pick Those other two guys, Siakam and James Johnson. That's right. That's who I'm picking right there. James Johnson, let's go. He needs a Share the Love Club. I might do a Share the Love Club for James Johnson very soon, just because he is a notorious Raptor, and he deserves one. I think if the Pacers do really well and they get all the way to the finals, James Johnson's going to get a Share the Love Club from us. That's right. James said, I never expected the Pacers to be in the conference finals. I'm going to be honest. I thought that in some ways the Pacers were somewhat of a fluke going as far as they did last year in the playoffs, but they're no longer a fluke at this point. They've shown consistent efforts in situations like the in-season tournament and the postseason of success that, the Pacers aren't a fluke. They aren't a fluke. They're a bona fide competing team that actually, in some ways, they're one of the best Eastern Conference teams because they compete when it matters at a very high level. And in some ways, I got to give them their just due. That wasn't a flash in the pan last year, getting all the way to Eastern Conference Finals. No, they're bona fide. And in some ways, I should respect and expect more from them going in the future. I should. That's right. Kareem said, because I thought they were going to backtrack this year and not have as much success. But it looks like they may have even more success than they did last year, especially if they get the finals. They will. That's right. They get the finals. Kareem's here. Good to see Kareem Thomas. I want the Pacers to advance, but I don't trust Halliburton. It would be cool, Knicks versus Timberwolves, battle of the trade, but I want Denver to win another chip despite having no bench. Yeah, you're assuming a lot there. The Game 7 will go down tomorrow between the Thunder and the Nuggets, and we'll have to see. This is in Oklahoma City. Which one of those teams will prevail and face the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals? Yeah, you're assuming a lot there, right there. Now, it would be kind of interesting to see Minnesota versus New York in the finals with Julius Randle and Cat involved in that. But I don't care about seeing that enough to go against what I'd really like to see, and that's the Thunder versus the Pacers. So I don't want that combination. I'm very different than you in this stage, Kareem. I definitely do not want Denver to win tomorrow. I want the Thunder to win. And I want to see the Thunder against the Pacers. And at that point, I'll say, may the best team win, because there's great Canadian content on both teams. And there is also a very, very beloved Raptor on the Pacers. So that's where I'm at with that, man. My hierarchy of who I like and who I'm rooting for is right there. I just spelled it out for you right there. Yeah, but that is an interesting idea. Knicks versus Wolves. That would be very interesting considering the trade they did at the beginning of the year. And coming back and bookends on this, facing each other. But I don't know if this is likely. I don't know if this is likely what will happen. I think that whoever wins between the Nuggets and the Thunder will go to the finals, and the Timberwolves will be eliminated in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. So really, if the Nuggets win tomorrow, well, I'll pencil them in for the finals because I think they will beat the Timberwolves. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to Cool Cat, the coach. We got Siakam versus OG in the Eastern Conference Final. This is awesome. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's what they're wondering on Raptors Reddit. Who you rooting for, Pascal or OG? Yeah, well, I mean, it's easy for me to root for Pascal. I'm sorry. In some ways, the division rivalry between us and the Knicks, that's a long-standing rivalry, the Knicks and the Raptors. I mean, this is a team that's suing us, guys. How can you not just go for Siakam? Seriously. I know Coach Cool Cat in some ways loves both of them very much, but we know who her favorite is. We know who her favorite is. And her favorite wears yellow and blue. So, I want to remind Raptors fans, James Dolan is still suing us. So don't get so behind the Knickerbockers. I was going to say, he's still suing us, and we still have to adjudicate what's going to the final outcome of this dumbass lawsuit that the Knicks have against us right now. Nako's here. Good to see Gerald holding it down out on the west side of the GTA. How's it going, Jerry? I hope you're having a great Saturday so far. He said number 1, Pacers. Number 2, OKC. Number 3, Wolves. Number 4, Nuggets. And number 5, Knicks in the order of who I want to see win. That's pretty similar to mine. I think that's almost exactly. Although I might put OKC ahead of Pacers. I really do kind of want to see the Thunder and SGA win it. Seriously. I mean, it'd be nice to see Siakam win again, but in some ways, I also have to think about him. Siakam wins again. So I think I might be number 1 Thunder with Pacers number 2. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe I shouldn't be because of Chet Holmgren. Yeah, I got to consider Chet Holmgren. Yeah, there's nobody on the Pacers team that I really don't like. I like all the guys on that team. There's usually like one dude I'm like, I can't stand that guy. I like Obi Toppin more and more as time goes on. And Halliburton's goofy, but he's still dorky. And he's kind of easy to like still, even though he's human. He's very human. Let's just put it that way. Tyrese. I don't know. In some ways, it's like it's tough. I would be happy with either Indiana or Oklahoma City winning. I really would, man. I really would. Roger Raymond's here. Good to see you, Raptor Freak Roger Raymond. There's some alliteration for us this morning. Good day, Raptor Freaks. Awesome playoffs for former Raptors. I think that this playoffs, as many people have said recently, is one of the greatest playoffs in recent history. In some ways, this is the way the playoffs should have been every year, but we haven't been able to have the playoffs like this for whatever reason, and now we are. So let's keep it this way, Adam Silver. I think that we're seeing a very successful playoffs and that you have got a good formula right now for your chicken. And you don't need to change it, Colonel Sanders. So seriously, whatever you got this year and what you did, keep it for next year because seriously, this is the way the playoffs are supposed to be. And some of these past years that we've had the playoffs, they ain't been right. They ain't been right. And I really do love that it's unpredictable and you ain't script writing with no referees. Let them play and let them play physically and play defense. And then we will see real basketball, real playoff basketball. It's been awesome, man. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and the crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. It's Saturday, so the man is not on the road again. He is back home again. That's right. There you go, Trucker Kaz. Good to see you, sir. Fiercely said, good morning, fam, and happy Saturday to MJ. Holding it down, holding down. Let's see what Coach MJ is saying. Or how is Fiercey Jr. and what is Fiercey Jr. is in the off season and enjoying the summertime at this point. Fiercely saying, yeah, I dropped Dorka as she was waived from the Minnesota Lynx. I'm surprised by that. Dorka was waived from the Lynx. She's such a promising player in the last couple of years. You know, very good forward with some decent shot blocking along with the rebounds. Interesting that Dorka was waived. Crazy. See, we're talking WNBA. WNBA season is here, and we're talking WNBA. Dorka got waived? What? Man, this league is cutthroat. It's a cutthroat league, the WNBA. That's right. Fiercely saying Coach Pop is legendary and deserves all the flowers. Yes, and yes. The man is amazing. The man has been such a mentor to so many people. And I'm telling you, man, in some ways, that's how you gauge a coach and their value is how many lives has he touched? How many people has he like very deeply changed and formed and shaped to be better people? And I think Coach Popovich has done that on a huge scale for a long, long time. I mean, can we get every single person in this world that says Coach Popovich changed my life in a room? And you may need a very, very big room. You may need a civic center, a coliseum to sit everybody in there. Hi, I'm Becky Hammond. Yeah, Coach Pop changed my life. Hi, my name is Matt Bonner. Coach Pop changed my life. Hi, I'm Jakob Pertl. Coach Pop changed my life. Yeah, you're going to have all these people come in there and say that. Say that like that. Hi, I'm David Robinson. Coach Popovich is a great man. You know, all that kind of stuff. You're going to see people will give their flowers to him. And the NBA needs to do better than they've done so far. In some ways, I know it's not that he's totally retired or anything, but y'all need to give him his flowers, seriously, on a different kind of scale. If you'll probably need to do this for Riley, too, soon. You know, Pat Riley deserves this, too. You know, you could talk about different people that have had long NBA careers around the NBA in different jobs. And there's certain people that do need this kind of treatment. You know, Bill Russell got an amazing tribute to him after he passed, and they retired the number 6 forever in the league. That's on the scale that it needs to be. Michael Jordan's going to need something at some point, honoring him lifetime wise in some sort of way, because it changed the game completely. So, yeah, Popovich is in that category. He is a big, huge influence on the entire NBA, and he needs the proper celebration, Adam Silver. Don't drop the ball on this. Seriously. Make this a big deal for Pop. Seriously, you should. Fiercely saying the Pacers versus Knicks will be a bloodbath. Like, yikes. I mean, after that picture of Josh Hart and the weird blood across his face, I mean, this is not the stuff I want to see. Ugh, gross. I'm not trying to watch Abdullah the Butcher versus New Jack here. All right. Not trying to see that. I'm choosing for Pascal and the Pacers. Sorry, OG. Sorry, cheerleader Tucker. Sorry, head flopper Brunson. Sorry, always grumpy Thibodeau. Yeah, when you go your list, you're starting to name people. Yeah, I definitely like the Pacers better than the Knicks as far as the players that are on the team. Miles Turner, he's a Lego maniac. How can you not like a Lego maniac like Miles Turner? How can you not like Canada's own Andrew Nebhart and Benedict Maturin? How can you not like those guys? How can you not like an unassuming a guy like Aaron Neesmith who's busting his butt and playing his ass off, and in some ways he's an afterthought? How can you not like the scrappiness of a little guy named TJ McConnell? And then you could go the other side and be like, yeah, Jalen Brunson, flopper, cat, big goofy guy. In some ways, I don't like you at all. It's PJ Tucker, very unlikable, very, very unlikable. In some ways, it's like all this other stuff. There's an article out on ESPN where they're talking about how they justify making the Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby trades for New York, and this is the reason why they are where they are. It was absolutely necessary to do Mikal Bridges trade. I don't believe that, first of all. I think that y'all could have done the resources better than getting Mikal Bridges, but whatever. Y'all can go ahead and put out propaganda that says this and this and this about Mikal Bridges trade and why that was good to sacrifice all those trade picks. But I still believe that y'all are going to pay for that in the end. Watch. You're going to pay for that in the end, New York. You go ahead and put out all the propaganda on ESPN you want, saying, oh, this is exactly why we need to make the trade for OG with Toronto. And this is why we had to do this with Brooklyn, to get Mikal Bridges, to get to this point in the playoffs. Yeah, whatever, man. Whatever. Grumpy Thibodeau, somebody is easy to not like. Yeah, very easy not like and not root for. Exactly. Boom goes the dynamite. There you go, Fiercey. That's right. All right, let's see what else y'all are saying. Trevor's saying Aaron Gordon might be out for Sunday's game against Oklahoma City. Yeah, that's what I was hearing, that he's kind of hurt. Well, this isn't good for them. He's an important player for them to win. And that's not looking good for Denver. They're going to be on the road, and they may be missing one of their most important players on their team, one of their long-standing championship core four. That's no good. That's no good. James saying Pacers feel like Raptors before Kawhi trade. That's what you feel like they are? You feel like they're before. So you feel like they're the Raptors of 2018? That's interesting. So you feel like they need to make a big splash and make a huge superstar thing to put them over, or will they be able to do it now? Interesting. I don't know. That's a weird analogy, James. I don't know if I can see this totally. Nako's saying, I actually think the Wolves have the best shot to win the whole thing. Rudy Gobert is a defensive monster. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think if it gets to Thunder and Wolves in the Western Conference Finals, they're cooked. I think they're cooked against the Thunder. I think that in some cases during the season, the Thunder handled the Wolves really well. I'm not totally sure if that's true. Somebody can fact check me. But if you go and look at the games between the Thunder and the Timberwolves this year, you might be surprised to see what you see. That's the best gauge for this in some ways. Is let's see how they played in the regular season. But I'm going to tell you right now, the personnel on the Thunder is more talented than the Timberwolves overall. And but they're similar teams. They're very similar. And it'll be an interesting matchup. I don't know. I can't get behind this, Gerald. Exactly. Trevor's saying Nuggets versus OKC, 3:30 p.m. tomorrow. So afternoon game. That's fantastic. We'll do the ref report in the morning, and y'all can watch the Game 7. Game 7. Woo! Game 7. Let's go. Seymour saying patiently waiting. Is it not going through exactly for you? Are you getting buffering? I don't know. My internet's been weird out here. I'm not gonna lie. The internet has not been totally right. It's been flaky. So hopefully you're not having buffering issues, Mr. Mountain Time. Fiercey saying, sorry, they said Dorka is sitting out for the season and will return in 2026. Fiercey Jr. tried out at an AAU spring team and made it. First tournament next weekend. So she's still going. That's fantastic. Okay, so there's no off season for Fiercey Jr. because Fiercey Jr. is on a spring team now and has got more games to come. That's fantastic. This is really good. You should try and get her as year-round as possible with playing the ball. This will really benefit her in the long run, I'm telling you. Fantastic stuff, MJ. I love to hear this, and keep us updated on the news about Fiercey Jr. and what she's doing all the time. Please, please. Kareem's saying if the Pacers win the chip, it will solidify Pascal's legacy and it will shut down the rumor that our 2019 chip was a fluke. You know what? In some ways, you're exactly right. And I mean, I think out of everybody from our chip year, if there's somebody who's going to get a second chip, Siakam in some ways strategically is a very good one for the Raptors to win it. You know, in some ways, it's also two things here. It's that what you just said, Kareem, and it's also that the Pacers have not won a championship other than the ABA. And well, if Siakam is one of the main central figures that helps win a championship, an NBA championship in Indiana, he'll be a god in that state forever. He really will. They will look at him like Larry Bird. I'm serious, because he will have done something that Reggie never did it. Reggie Miller never did that. And if Siakam can do it within like 2 or 3 years of being on the Pacers, that's a big deal right there, man. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know, there will be direct linkages to point to Siakam as the common denominator in this. Seriously. And I think that Kareem's exactly right. This will solidify Siakam's legacy as a winner. And in some ways, it will make the Raptors championship look better. In some ways, Kawhi winning a championship with the Clippers won't do that. Nick winning a championship with the Sixers won't do that. Freddie winning a championship on the Rockets would. Him and Siakam would do that. But I this is fantastic. And in some ways, that's why I wouldn't hesitate to see Siakam get another championship with Indiana, because I do feel like it would be healthy and beneficial to the history with us. I do. I think it would be. Yeah. Kareem said, oh, my God, Fiercey, good luck to her. There you go. Thank you, Kareem and Lex. No problem. Yeah, we have a lot invested in Fiercey Jr. as far as we're a supportive crew for her. And also, we just want to see her journey. And we're all about watching it. Y'all, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. Speaking of a Canadian basketball player named Fiercey Jr., let's talk about Canadian goods right now. You know, there's a company out there called Dare, and Dare is actually a snack company that is Canadian based. And I don't remember if I did these or not already. I might have done these already, but if I did, I apologize. But I'm doing veggie crisps again. Yeah, or I don't think I did them. I'm not sure. These are like potato chips, but they're made out of vegetables. And they're very healthy for you. Like there's a lot of carrots and onions and beets and peas and stuff like that in the way they produce these chips, these crisps. And they're not like normal chips. In some ways, these are very healthy for you. This is Zesty Ranch, veggie crisps. And this is a salt and vinegar bag. And Dare is a Canadian company that's out of Kitchener, y'all. And of course, they do the cookies and stuff like that also. But yeah, feel free to buy Dare because they are good for you. You know, these crisps have a bunch of flavors. There's spicy chipotle cheddar, sea salt, zesty ranch, all dressed, barbecue, ketchup, and salt and vinegar. And I'm telling you, man, the carrots, peas, beets, and tomatoes is what they put in these things. And they're very proudly Canadian. That's the thing, man. And, you know, the story is this. Dare was created in 1889 in Canada. And they've been making all kinds of cookies and toasts and snacks for a long time. Breton crackers and Melba toast and more. And they've had over 1,400 employees, 8 manufacturing plants. And, you know, they do have plants in the States. And they do build stuff down the States. But a lot of these chips on the package will say made in Canada on here. So these were actually made in the plant here, and they're 100% Canadian, even though Dare does do stuff down in the States, just so y'all know. But yeah, they're committed to sustainability. And they obviously, this is a good, healthy snack food. It's like, if you want a snack, this is good for you. This is actually not totally junk food. And it can actually like give you good vitamins from real vegetables instead of just junk, like a lot of junk food is. So yeah, I'm all about the veggie crisps from Dare right now. And you know, they're making these in Kitchener, not too far from us here in the GTA. So yeah, there's your straight goods on Canadian goods today. Veggie crisps, legumes by Dare. And they have different great flavors like zesty ranch and salt and vinegar. So if you get that snack in, bugging you, and you're like, I got a snack, man. You can get a healthy snack that's Canadian. Also, there you go. Boom goes the dynamite. There you go. So he's saying the Leafs forced a game 7 on Sunday night. Yeah, happy to see the Leafs win their game last night 2-0 and stay alive. And we'll play the Panthers in a game 7 in Florida, right? Are they in Toronto? No, they're in Toronto, right? I'm not totally sure where they are. I don't care. But either way, the Leafs were not disappointed and eliminated last night. They stay alive, John Travolta. Ah, 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 staying alive. Ah, ah. Yeah, Jets are still alive too. They're going to play tonight, I think. And hopefully they can beat Dallas and stay alive some more. That's right. But yeah, go Jets, go. And I guess go Leafs, go. Game 7's in Toronto. All right, good. Good. Hopefully they can please the crowd and beat the Florida Panthers. That'll be a huge deal because it's not been good going against the Panthers in the recent years. That's right. We don't have any NBA games today, so I'll do the report on the WNBA. We got Chicago at Indiana Fever today. Roy Guibien. I'm gonna have to know the refs for the WNBA now, and I hope that somebody keeps stats for this. I'm pretty sure they don't, but I'm gonna just kind of like pay attention to these refs as much as I can when we start doing tempo games. But yeah, Roy Guibien, Tierra Cruz, and Jenna Renault are the 3 referees for the Sky at the Fever today. Also, we got the Aces at the Liberty. That's a marquee matchup. Madge Forsberg is the crew chief with Jeff Wooten and Ashley Gloss. And then it's Storm at Mercury. Angelica Suffren with Angel Kent and Jason Alabanza as the referees for our WNBA slate today. 3 games on the slate. Chicago at Indiana, Las Vegas at New York, and Seattle at Phoenix. Let's go, WNBA. That's right. There you go, WNBA. Yeah, it's been fun doing our fantasy teams so far. Let's go look at the Instagram stories. Some interesting stuff on Instagram yesterday. First, we got Slim Duck playing a clip from Reno 911. I hope that you know, Chris, that is not a real police interaction. That is scripted comedy from Comedy Central, Reno 911. Of course, a show that was based on cops, that was a comedy show that had a lot of the old people from that one goofy show, The State. That a lot of the same people, Carrie Kinney and a couple people. But yeah, that's a clip from a show, and that's not a real clip from real life, Chris. I just want you to know that. You probably do know that, but that's from Reno 911, just so you know. But yeah, he's putting on blast my guy, Scott. Scotty, Siakam has this amazing clip out called No Ego about beating the Cavaliers in the last round. Well, Scotty got some people to throw a clip together of him with a nice little song over it, a montage of his past season and talking about on his way up, going up. And well, his teammates had a very dramatic response to Scotty's clip. All of them posted it. We're going to go over the list of everybody who posted Scotty's hype clip from his season this past year, season 4 for Scott. This is what players do in the offseason. They put together highlight clips or like something from their season, and they put it out there to put their brand out, get their name up, and get people excited. Well, Scott had one of these put together, and it's pretty good. It's really good, honestly. I think this is the first time I've seen Scotty kind of throw one of these together and put it out like this. He'll put a photo montage together, but he won't do an actual like video clip where somebody edited like his dunks and different things from the year together, like him getting the chain, him being with his teammates, him being on the NBA studios with Udonis Haslem. It's all in there. And Slim Duck has reposted it. He's really proud of Scotty. Of course, he's been there with Scott since the start of him coming to Toronto, and he's seen his journey. And in some ways, it's really interesting. I mean, Chris is the only one who's been there the whole time now. Everybody else is gone that was here when Scott showed up, except for Chris. So he knows his journey the best with the Raptors. Chris is also hyping up UFC stuff on here, and there's going to be a fight tonight. Probably it's Saturday, so there'll be some sort of UFC fight tonight, and they're hyping it up. And okay, Chris is laughing because the Knicks fans made a graphic of OG, and it's called OG Unit, and they got all OG all G'd up. He's like wearing a bandana around his neck, and they're looking all tough. And in some ways, the reason why Chris is laughing at this as well, the reason why we would laugh at it is because we know this is not OG's personality. In some ways, he's about nice walks by the lake with a nice lady in a sundress. And he's more like, going to wear his glasses in his gym outfit than like, where some of the stuff is in this thing. But he looks like a tough G right here. OG, being an OG like Ice-T. And then they've got Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart behind them wearing chains and looking all tough. And there's like an image of Jalen Brunson on the wall. But yeah, it's pretty funny. This OG unit. What's it say? Beg for referee mercy is what it's called. Beg for referee mercy. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's an apropos album name for OG's gangster rap album. Because like he's been begging for referee mercy since he came from Indiana University to the Raptors. That man has never gotten the right respect from the refs. Yeah, y'all see his picture. Go look at it. It's on Chris Boucher's Instagram stories. OG unit. It's hilarious, man. Seriously, it's pretty cool. Eric Smith is putting on blast Michael Jordan. He's saying Michael Jordan didn't miss a single game during his final three-peat with the Bulls. He played 310 out of 310 possible games, including the playoffs from 1995 to 98, while winning 3 championships. That is impressive that he missed a single game in a three-peat, y'all. That's really impressive. RJ putting on blast. Also, Eric said this about OG. He's saying it's nice. New York is in versus Indiana is for the Knicks is great for one reason. OG, his 18-19 season with Toronto was riddled with personal and family issues, multiple injuries and setbacks, and an April appendectomy. He got a ring, deservedly so, but he didn't play in the postseason. This is redemption for him. So Eric Smith of the Fan 590 is saying this is OG's redemption tour because he's finally getting to play in the postseason he should have played in 2019. And I have to agree with that. It's true. In some ways, he has some things to prove for this. That's why in some ways I don't want to root for OG because he is, if he becomes a champion with the Knicks, he's more of a Knicks champion than a Raptors champion because he didn't even play in the championship with us. So think about that, anybody who's rooting for the Knicks. Think about it that way. I ain't about Knicks winning the championship. I'm not. As much as I love OG, I'm not. RJ reposting Scotty's montage. He's saying, Scott. And it's like, look, this is showing something. Scotty posted something on Instagram yesterday, and all of his teammates, if they didn't like him, they wouldn't repost this. And almost every single one of his teammates reposted the Scotty thing, man. I'm telling you right now. RJ reposted it. Jamal Shed celebrating his dad's birthday yesterday, and he's calling him his twinski. And he does look exactly like Jamal Shed. Seriously, it's kind of cool. He said, happy birthday, Papa. Love you, big homie. So, yeah, it was Shed's dad's birthday. And that's cool, man. We know his dad comes to games a lot. There's the Scott clip on Jamal Shed's Instagram. So he's there. He's showing the love to Scott for that. And also Jamal showing himself out last night at a bar with some friends watching the Leaf game. So I guess Jamal Shed's a big time Leaf fan now because he is hyped that Game 7's coming for the Leafs and the Florida Panthers because he showed the clip of when the Leafs won last night. Jamal Shed was celebrating. So there you go, Leaf Nation. You got our backup point guard in your camp now, Leaf Nation, because he's hooked now. He went to the game in the last couple of weeks, and now he is paying attention to what the Leafs are doing. And he cares, man. He cares. He's in Leaf Nation now. Wubbs was out and about in the city around Toronto, taking pictures in different places with his short haircut. He's out there. Let's see. There he is putting on a bandana. And there he is. Oh, there. He just posted Scotty's clip too. He said, chill, four. Like it's just the clip is just so overpowering. He's like, chill, four. Chill, man. Chill, bro. You're too good. You're too awesome. Chill, bro. That's pretty cool. Teresa Resch putting on blast. Let's see who's that. Strategy Magazine. 1 year away from the tip-off for the Toronto Tempo. Let's go, Toby Fournier. Let's go, Toronto Tempo. Let's go, Canada. That's right. Open Gym, director of photography, posting Scotty's clip. Did they have something to do with it? Did y'all throw something together for Scott? Did Scott cut you a check and say, hey, Open Gym, cut me a highlight reel real quick from your footage and send it to me? I'll give you $1,000. Okay, Scott. Boom goes the dynamite. Manu quickly posting Scotty's clip. OD Scotty is what it's saying. Ode Scott. Ode. Like, it's not like an ode, the ode of Scott, maybe? Or it's OD. He's OD with this clip, the style. Of course, his right-hand man, his childhood friend, is going to be all about this. Jonathan Mobo posting Scotty's clip. Comp. There you go. We got Lloyd. What about Lloyd? What if Lloyd? Yeah, only up. That's what he's saying. He's posted Scott's clip. He's not even on the team. Of course he's going to post it. He's one of Scott's best friends. And Lloyd's saying only up. That's right. Only up for Scott. We going up. And this is the thing. I'm going to say this right now. Scotty Barnes could be one of the most dominant players offensively in this league if he wants to be. And that may be the switch that we're seeing next year. Everybody's saying this and this and this about Scotty. Scotty ain't doing this, Scotty ain't doing that, but Scotty could. And he might. He might be like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm going to start showing people. I'm going to start taking it to them. I'm going to start scoring in bunches and dominating games and making my team win on the back of my shoulders. I'm telling you right now, it's there. And some people saying like, well, he's unselfish. He's going to pass to everybody else. He's not going to call his own number. What if he decides to start calling his own number, y'all? It's over for the league then. I'm telling you right now. It's over for the league then because he can do whatever he wants on a basketball court. We know it. We've seen it. He's got to get to the point where he wants to do it and consistently do it, and he can do it consistently. I think he can. Eugene Omoruyi is still over in Lagos. He's been in Nigeria for a couple weeks now, and he's just living it up over there. In fact, he posted a nice picture of him with a really cool outfit with some rhinestones on it. And guess who's a big fan of his? Who put him on blast? Our guy SGA. That's right. Canadians, friends. That's right. They're around the same age. I'm sure they're good friends, Eugene and SGA. But SGA's putting the style icon, Eugene Omoruyi, on blast while he's over in Nigeria. The Raptors, the Raptor 905 is out there in the sunshine. He's got some sort of contest going on. You say he needs you to vote for what he should do this weekend. It's a long weekend, and the Raptor wants some direction on what he should do to touch grass. And he's got a contest right now for Raptors fans to tell him, what should I do this long weekend? You can tell the Raptor what to do. Go jump in a lake. How about that, Raptor? No, I mean, seriously, it'll be nice for your scales. It'll be great. It'll be great. Young Oach putting on blast. Somebody got committed to, Kansas, and it's Corbin Allen. Corbin Allen has committed to playing for Kansas. There you go. Go show my boy some love. So that's cool. Somebody that he's friends with is going to go play for his alma mater. Toronto Tempo is all about all the talks. They're coming up. There's one going to be with Lily Singh and Mariah Amber. They're going to be doing a talk next weekend, May 2-4. Hoops Without Limits, how basketball bridges culture and creates new opportunities within community. Lily Singh and Mariah Amber on the panel talking about that, presented by Sephora. There's many other panels also with a variety of different experts and people from different walks of life that will be coming in and talking. They're talking about sneakers and streetwear. They're going to be talking about creativity through the lens of sport. That means taking pictures, I'm sure. The rituals of being ready with Monica Wright Rogers. That will be one of the talks. There's all kinds of cool stuff here. They're going to do More Than a Mic, the power of voice and music. And they're going to have some Jilly Black. Jilly Black is going to be there on the panel talking. So that's pretty cool. They got some good names and people coming. That'll be on Sunday, May the 25th. The More Than a Mic, the power of the voice in sport. So Toronto Tempo really broadening out the culture of what they're doing with these events way before they're even going to play, so people can understand what they're all about. Savannah Hamilton got some pizza yesterday. That looks good, man. The grad lunch. It's when her sister graduated, guys. Her sister, Asia, graduated from Boston College or University, Boston University, I believe. So, yeah, she got the diploma, the flowers, and she's got the mortarboard. And yeah, there's Savannah with her sister. It's her younger sister, I'm guessing. Very, very happy to see her younger sister graduate from Boston University this weekend. Fantastic stuff. Good job, Savannah, being a good sister and being there for your sister. Siakam's got a story about where it all began, and that's Douala, Cameroon. That's right. It's a story about the journey of Pascal from Africa to his NBA stardom. That's from PS43 Foundation. And Jared Roden has got a future plan, and he's got a picture of him in the white and red Raptors jersey, number 8. There you go, Jared Roden. You are a Raptor, sir. I'm going to like that. There's your Instagram stories for today. Scotty put out a clip, and it's cool, man. If y'all haven't seen Scotty's montage clip from this season, y'all should watch it. It's cool, man. In some ways, you kind of see some there's some messaging in it. I'm telling you right now. If you watch it clearly and listen to lyrics, you're going to hear some stuff about what Scott's trying to do with his career coming next year. Seriously, you listen to it, you pay attention, you'll see it. You'll see it. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying twister hip. A twister hip. Okay, you're saying a twister has hit Missouri. Hundreds lose their life. They're saying it was the worst. Prayers. Well, I'm going to say this right now. They've rolled back paying the people that watch the weather in the United States because of Trump and Elon and their dumbass Doge stuff. So they've cut back on the National Oceanic Atlantic, whatever, NOAA, and they monitor the weather. And they're supposed to, the reason why this job is important is because of this. Exactly. You know, people going to die unnecessarily in air traffic controller problems. People going to die from contaminated food that isn't properly inspected because they fired so many people that are doing these jobs that honestly, the world is a lot less safe under President Trump. And this is one of the ways is that they fired the people that predict the weather, watch the weather and monitor it and warn everybody what's happening. It could very well be that they could have gave more warning to these people to get out of the area where this is forming. But the people that would normally do that were fired by Donald Trump. So I'm going to say this once again. These are deaths at the hands of the president because he made sweeping cuts to the people that actively monitor the weather. And that probably some of these deaths in Missouri could have been avoided with the proper people monitoring the weather and getting the word out and getting people safe and telling people emergency broadcast system. You know that? Well, if the people are fired, they can't do the job. They can't warn them that there's a twister coming. People die. In some ways, this is ugly Darwinism that is somewhat forced by the president because he's an evil, malicious, horrible person that does not care about the people that he is the president over. He wants everybody to die in the U.S. in different ways, whether he's going to starve them or he's going to take away from the health care, whether he's going to not put warning labels on food and people will die because of salmonella. There's all kinds of different ways. So be very careful right now. We're lucky we live in Canada. Trust me, because in the States, it's a very dangerous place to live for all kinds of reasons right now. All kinds of reasons right now. So you're going to fire all the people that watch the weather and a twister going to come in and destroy a whole bunch of people's lives in Missouri? Well, I'm going to blame the president because he directly it has an implication and responsibility in this because he very irresponsibly fired all the weather watchers. So it's his damn fault. I'm going to say that right now. It's his damn fault right there. That's right. Prayers. Yeah, I'm sad to hear this, but you know what? This actually could be avoided, just like a measles outbreak could be avoided. This has all been conquered and done, and you idiots that are dragging this back in time to idiotic times where we were stupider. Well, you dumbasses, we're going to get what we get because you idiots are dragging back to stupidity. Yeah, you want to see measles outbreak? People are dying of measles all of a sudden in 2025. That's not supposed to happen. We conquered measles. But no, we got an idiot in charge of the United States, and he's going to allow this to happen. Unnecessary deaths to a twister in Missouri probably could be directly linked to him. Seriously, right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Seymour saying, I hope SGA shines. Me too. I'm sure he will. He's been pretty steady this playoffs. I mean, have there been games where we said, oh, SGA like really, really crapped the bed and he really made them lose? There may be one or two where he did not play exactly right. But most of the games, he's been very consistent and very much showing up for them. That's right. Seymour saying, big up Mays, Block, Jane, and Shepard, the Alexander family. You can do it. MVP. It's going to be fun. Thunder win tomorrow. It'll be Nickel versus Shea. And that's the stuff they dream about. I mean, seriously, those guys are so tight as cousins. They love each other so much. I mean, in some ways, they're like brothers more than cousins. They're very similar, like feature wise, and in some ways, they're really tight. They grew up together, and it'll be fun to see Minnesota versus Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals, and have Nickeil Alexander Walker play against Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. It'll be awesome. It'll be fun, seriously, and that'll be one of the little inner stories in the thing right there. Yeah, Stargate saying Gregg Popovich International Airport sounds good to me. Yeah, and I mean that's awesome. I know that San Antonio is not a huge hub for airports in the United States, but you know what? That would be cool, man. If I was going to San Antonio and I flew into Popovich Airport, I would be like, wow, this is cool. This is cool. And he's definitely the kind of person that deserves this kind of honor. There's a lot of people that have names all over the place from hundreds of years ago that were racist and horrible people that do not deserve to have their name anywhere. Dundas. Yeah. And well, Gregg Popovich, I could solidly say this is somebody that if you're going to put his name on places, he deserves it. And it's not going to be a problem in the future where people are going to come back around and say, yeah, this guy was actually a slave owner. This guy was actually raping women. Yeah, this guy was actually cutting off the hands of indigenous people, Christopher Columbus. Yeah, and he wants to make Columbus Day great again. The truth is still out there. In some ways, you guys can do what you want, but you know what? The kids at Minecraft, they've put all of the real truth in the library in Minecraft, and everybody can go find out the truth about anything from Minecraft, apparently. Did y'all know that? Seriously. Some of the youth, the children of this world, know that there's people that are trying to erase history and erase the truth. So the children have gone and made a library on the world of Minecraft, and they have stored all this information in Minecraft away from places so that they can keep the truth there. So I'm just saying, they're going to try and change the truth. Christopher Columbus is a great person. He did this and did that, and that's bullshit. We know who he is. We know what he did. And Trump can start touting, oh, we need to make Columbus Day a thing again and forget about Indigenous Day. That's what I'm saying. White supremacy, racist, crazy ass Trump administration is Nazi bullshit. All this stuff. It's really bad, man. The guy's openly white supremacist at this point. Seriously. When he says stuff like, oh, I want to celebrate Columbus and forget about Indigenous Persons Day, that's very racist, white supremacist talk. And in some ways, he's trying to normalize it so that people are like poo-pooing the people who were here before and all the gains we've had to try and rectify the horrible, horrible genocides and horrible, horrible things that colonizers did on this continent to the indigenous people who were already here when they came. All right. I got on Columbus thing here for a second. Anyway, the Stargate saying, bye-bye, Celtics. See you next season. All I need now is the Maple Leafs to get eliminated tonight, and I'm a happy man. Well, they're not going to play tonight, are they? They're going to play probably tomorrow since they played last night. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not rooting for the Leafs' demise. I know it'll naturally occur. I don't want to be gleeful or happy the Leafs are out because I know that it does really hurt a lot of people around this province. And in some ways, I don't want to see people upset and sad about it. But if they're out, I'm not going to be upset about it either. I'm kind of ambivalent about it. I don't care either way. If I have my way, we win a Stanley Cup here in Canada. And hopefully it'll be the Jets. I'd love the Jets to win the Stanley Cup. That's the team I really want to win. Yeah, there you go. Seymour saying, Pacers-Knicks rivalry, music to my ears. Who says ball ain't entertaining? Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a throwback. It's definitely a throwback. I hope that they'll wear some of the throwback jerseys. I hope that we'll see some of the old Knicks and Pacers at the courtside watching like Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason. Well, no, Anthony Mason passed on. Rest in peace. But Mark Jackson, Rick Smits, Detlef Schrempf. We can get people from both sides from the wars, from befores. That's right. Trevor's saying they're calling it a super tornado from Missouri to Kentucky. I mean, there's people that can predict these things, and then there's also the air sirens, and there's the trying to tell people and with a warning to get them out of there. There's certain people that were employed to do that aren't employed to do that at this point because of Elon's government cuts. So you get what you get in some ways, and sad that innocent people's lives are lost because of irresponsible government that is not doing their job correctly. In fact, they're more worried about making themselves rich and being completely corrupt. taking planes from Qatar, making business deals every which way to enrich themselves. That's all they care about. They don't care about the constituents. They don't care about the American people. They don't care about anything but lining their pockets and being rich, greedy, fat cat, billionaire class running the United States to the detriment of everybody else. 60% of Americans cannot live a livable life at this point. That's the majority. That's the majority of Americans cannot live an actual livable life. And more are falling below the poverty line because of ever increasing inequality and wealth. And they are exasperating it with the plans that the Republicans have with their big budget that they're trying to put through right now. And also with Trump's leadership and what he values and what he's trying to do. The rich get richer and the poor die is basically his platform. That's just basically it right there. It's it right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Kudos to the kids. Kudos to the kids. Yeah, dap, dap, dap. Yeah, for saving the information on Minecraft. Isn't that weird, man? Save that information. If they say, if there's a banned books list, that's the banned book. That's the books that you need to read, youngsters. If they're gonna ban some books, they're telling you exactly what you should be reading. Right there. Go find it. That's right. Wayne's saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. Pacers Knicks conference finals is a worthwhile watch. I want to see a Western NBA champion, so I'm backing the Knicks to the NBA final. I think they're more beatable over 6 to 7 games. So this is an interesting way of Wayne's putting it is. Like in some ways, he's all about like the Knicks getting past the Pacers because he knows that they'll be easier to beat by the Western opponent. That's an interesting way to look at it. I don't know. I kind of want to see Indiana beat the Knicks. In the history of the Knicks versus the Pacers, I'm pretty sure the Knicks won out most of the time. That the Pacers may have beat them a couple of times, though. I'm pretty sure they beat them in that one year where they, obviously when the Pacers went to the finals against the Lakers. But, quite often, I think when the Knicks and the Pacers played each other, Reggie was losing to the Knicks. And it was in an earlier round. And then the Knicks would go on and lose to the Bulls. Or it would be vice versa. I can remember Reggie getting past the Knicks and then losing to the Bulls himself. So it's kind of weird because the Knicks and the Pacers, well, it was the Bulls that always stopped them around that time. It was just like that. Talk about LeBronto. Forget about LeBronto. Jordan, during the 90s, 6 championships. So don't tell me it's like dominance of the whole entire league. LeBron dominated 2010s, maybe, but not like Jordan did. Not like Jordan did. Nope. Fiercely saying, hopefully the Celtics will take the opportunity to work on actual basketball this offseason and scrap those gazillion three-point attempt strategy. Well, they found out the legs of where it gets it to them. You got to diversify your strategy. I think this is the exact point that Fiercely's making here, and I think it's true. I think it's true. And it is what it is. Oh, well, Celtics, you got a championship last year, and this mentality this year you found out that people are catching up, and this is not going to work anymore. That's basically it right there. Trevor's saying they're saying the Celtics will be a different team next season with new faces. This is probably true. I mean, in this kind of way, like this is the thing when you're an NBA team and you're kind of like testing where you can go and what you can do. Well, they had all the success in the world last year, and this year they failed. And in some ways, it's like if they failed this year like this, they're going to fail next year. They're not going to be able to have the winning formula again. They got to reconstitute it and figure out the team again. So I believe this is true. That there may be a high-profile player on the Celtics that gets moved for a shakeup and a little bit of a new look. It could very well be that they take some of the extra three-point shooting that they have and they trade it for some other aspect that will diversify their offense. That could be like that. Maybe they go get an offensive player like a Siakam or somebody who's like not Siakam himself, but that kind of a player that can kind of do more things in certain ways than they have on their team already. So we'll have to see. I believe this too. I think that the Celtics will change a bit. They may not change as drastically as everybody thinks, but there will be a little bit of a shakeup. I could see one of their main starters getting traded, and then they're getting something else for a new look. I doubt it'll be Drew Holiday. It may not be Jason or Jalen. It could be Porzingis. It could be that they trade Derek White. I don't know. Maybe they won't trade Derek White. Maybe they will trade Jason Tatum. I don't know. Fiercely saying, who will be out? Porzingis wasn't starting yesterday. That was interesting. Yeah, because he's a loser, and he contributes to losing, and they didn't start him. Well, they're learning. It's like, that's why I was like, why'd you get him? He's lucky he got a ring with them last year. His whole entire career has been really mostly a failure, Kristaps. It really, really has. All right, let's keep going with my tabs and see what I've got going. Let's go do Raptors Reddit reactions. Let's see. First of all, they're talking about defending champion Boston Celtics eliminated New York Knicks will be heading to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000 against the Pacers. That's crazy, man. And OG, they got a nice picture of OG celebrating. Raptors fans, who are you cheering for, Knicks or Pacers? Let's go see what the comments are saying on Raptors Reddit. Who are they rooting for? This guy's saying, personally, I'm hoping for a 7-game series where OG and Pascal trade buzzer beaters while Halliburton and Brunson watch from the sidelines. That's goofy, man. This guy's saying Pacers. If it wasn't for Siakam, Raptors don't win the title in 2019. Yeah. And also somebody's saying here that, yeah, I'm rooting for Siakam and the Pacers because OG wanted to leave Toronto and Siakam didn't. That's a good point right there. That's a good point. Let's see. Oh, somebody's trying to point out, well, we might have won another championship in 2020 if someone had been a bit more efficient against Boston. That's a dig at Pascal, man. That's a dig at him. Let's see. Somebody here saying that the Pacers, they also have 2 Canadians, and Nebhard and Mathurin. The former helped us make the Olympics, too. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's a good reason right there. Let's see. That's a weird comment. That's a little bit off of the point. Anyway, Raptors Reddit, you're weird, man. Some of the stuff y'all bring up is crazy, honestly. Let's see. For those wondering, in reference to Malawach's recent promise, given the situation with his visa, this may be Masai helping out another basketball player in a citizenship visa predicament. The first one, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Rather famously, Masai helped out Giannis and his family to acquire Greek citizenship due to them not originally qualifying for Greek citizenship. Not only was Ujiri enamored of the teenager's skill and promise, the Raptors executive was closely tied to the youngster. Antetokounmpo's parents had moved from Lagos, Nigeria, to Athens in 1991. And while Antetokounmpo and 3 of his 4 brothers were born in Greece, they did not automatically qualify for full Greek citizenship. Ujiri, one of the most fervent supporters of Africa basketball players, it helped the process along through advice and connections, and finally helping Giannis get his Greek citizenship. That's interesting. So there's a report saying that Masai has promised Malawach something. And I think what it is he's promised him, if you're still at 9, you're coming to Toronto. That's what I think he promised him. There is a report saying that Masai has promised something to Kamen Malawach. And I think that's what it is. I think it is. It's like, dude, don't worry. You're going to be top 10 no matter what. I promise you, if you're still available at 9, we're taking you right away. That's like that. I think that's what they're saying. Seriously. I think that's what they're saying. Yeah. All right, let me see more on the Reddit real quick. Let's see if there's any more here. There really a lot of buzz about Igor Demin. You know, he's a guard, but he's 6'9". He's like bigger than they said he was. And he's really been really good at the combine in Chicago this week. So Igor Demin is somebody we may need to go look back at again. Yeah, let's see. All right, that's good enough. That's good enough for there. Let's see if Blue Skies has got anything interesting at the top here. They're talking about Doug Smith's talking about WNBA season. He's talking about the Canadian content, Aaliyah Edwards, Bridget Carlton, and Kia Nurse. And I guess because Letitia Emma here got cut, she's not actually in the league. So those are the only Canadians in the league. That's interesting. There's only 3 Canadians in the WNBA right now. That's got to change. Let's see. Happy birthday to former Raptor Hubert Davis. Y'all know Hubert Davis? He's a former Knick, and he was on the Raptors briefly for a little while. He is actually 55 today. So happy 55th birthday to former Knick Hubert Davis, also one-time Raptor. And also, happy birthday to the late, great, old coach for assistant coach for the Raptors, Stan Albeck. Stan Albeck was born in 1931, and he passed away a couple years ago, sadly. But yeah, it's his birthday today. So happy birthday to the family of Stan Albeck and memory of Stan Albeck also today. We won't forget our Raptors in our history. And he's an assistant coach from our history. And also happy birthday to Hubert Davis. Those are the birthdays for today's stream. All right, let me get that classic card. Trevor's been asking for it. Wayne saying definitely conflicted. I really want Pacers to succeed, but afraid of dynasty building since they're younger. Raptors' interests are my only concern. Don't want too strong a conference. Raptors forever. You know what I'm going to say? I'm not worried about dynasty building anymore. I really am not. I think that Adam Silver's done such a good job with parity that every single year, the biorhythms of the season will make the new champion every year. I mean, we were so worried about a dynasty with the Celtics, right? From last year. Oh, they're like this and they're so young and they've got everybody under contract. They're definitely going to win it again next year. Well, they're not because they got eliminated last night. So I'm not so worried about dynasty building anymore. If some team repeats as a champion, I'll be shocked because that era is kind of over. It's really kind of like there's 30 teams and you're all got chances and there's going to be different teams jumping in and it may be the right combination of luck with health and certain other things to get you there. Health and certain other things, maybe matchups, maybe a couple of just lucky bounces here and there, and all of a sudden you're the champion that year. So I think that because of the parity and there's no juggernaut that's an absolute super team that just dominates everybody, that there won't be dynasties anymore. That there's going to be new NBA champions almost every year. And to stay at the top is so hard. And the Celtics are a good evidence of this year. And that's part of the reason why too, is to keep that formula good. Denver would have loved to repeat. We would have loved to repeat, but Kawhi had to leave. Denver couldn't keep the same players together. They couldn't repeat. Milwaukee couldn't repeat. You know, that's what I'm saying. So it's like I don't worry about the repeat with Indiana. If Indiana wins the championship this year, well, winning it next year will be so much harder, and it won't probably happen. So I like your sentiment about keeping the East easy and weak so the Raptors can just trample it. I like that. I like that a lot. Seymour saying, coach of NC Tar Heels, Hubert Davis. Yeah, he's the coach of the UNC Tar Heels currently, men's basketball, right? And Belichick's the coach of the football team. It's just so weird to me. Bill Belichick's the coach of the Tar Heels football team? That's weird, man. They were such a weird college football team when I was in university at Florida State. Of course, we were rivals in divisions, Atlantic Coast Conference, and we'd play North Carolina all the time, Florida State Seminoles, and we usually beat them. But there was a period of time where UNC got kind of okay, and they would beat us every once in a while. But yeah, that I used to go to UNC Florida State college football games at Doak Campbell Stadium all the time, and they weren't always that serious a team that we would worry about. Let's just put it that way. And basketball for sure. Hello. In basketball, but not in football. Not in football. Trevor's saying that Indiana has 3 Canadians. Pascal is one of them. You know, you're getting a dunk for this. You're getting a dunk, Trevor, because this is exactly needed to be said. He's right. It's like we're saying, oh, the Pacers only have 2 Canadians on their team. That's not right. They have 3 because Pascal is a Canadian citizen. That's right. We're just going to make him that. 30 dunks for Trevor this season now. 90 points on the dunk charts. Trevor, good comment, man. That's exactly right. Trevor's also saying Angel Reese's brother tried out for the NBA draft combine. He is good too. Okay, how's he doing? Is he going to make the league? Is he going to be a two-way? Is he going to be a G League player? That's what I'm wondering right there. That's what I'm wondering right there. All right, let's get this card out. Let's see what we got today. They haven't been very classic lately. They've been more newer players that in some ways. All right, this is who we're going to do. Who is that? Oh, yeah, we'll do this one. That's hilarious. This actually makes sense for today. Once again, a card that kind of makes sense for what's going on today. All right, be quick because this one may be very fast to get. Full name answer, please. Hit your live button right now. If you can't hear me saying this and you're not live, so I guess it's like dumb if I tell you to hit the live button. You should be behind. You know, hit the live button now, but it may be too late. All right, here it is. Who is that, guys? That's the easy one, man. Who is the classic card of the day? I brought it up close for a second, and you can probably tell in some ways who it is. Oh, yeah, that's too easy. I brought that too close. Drew Holiday is exactly right. Fiercey's got it. It's Drew Holiday on the Bucks. Back when he played for Milwaukee, And of course, we're going to say Drew Holiday. Everybody spelled it kind of weird, but I'm going to give it to Fiercey. She just spelled it a little bit off. The R and the U are supposed to be the opposite. You got it right there. Yeah. Yeah, there's Drew Holiday. I think his career is interesting because of winning at All-Stars at totally different times. He's won awards a couple times, but always in different places. And of course, he's a two-time champion with the Bucks and the Celtics. So he's like in twos with everything. He's like two-time All-Star, two-time champion, two-time Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, or something like that. Two-time sportsman of the year. He's got like two times. He's like Jacob Tutu, two everything. But yeah, Drew, he wasn't totally healthy in this playoff. I'm gonna say that right now. He wasn't totally healthy, and you could tell. That's right, Drew Holiday. Look at that. Fiercey Salcera gonna get the classic card. It's gonna be just 100. It's an easy one. So Drew Holiday is the classic card of the day. Fiercely Salcera getting points 2 days in a row here, but not with Slug Deezy this time. Just 100 straight up for her. Boom goes that dynamite. They've been 100-point cards all along for a bit here. Freaking autocorrect won't accept his name. Yeah, JRUE. Yeah, that's different. That's different. You don't see that too much. Jaru. He's a great guy though, man. And out of the Celtics, he's probably the one I like the best. Him and Jaylen Brown are two of my favorite Celtics. I like those guys. And I can't get mad at them because they're just good dudes. They're just good dudes. You can tell Jaylen Brown's a good dude too. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Where are we at in this stream? We're an hour and a half. Okay. Yeah. I've been sharing the love for Gregg Popovich, guys. Gregg Popovich has done it all. He's done a lot. 5 championships. I mean, people would love to get one. And this man got 5. This man had the most steady franchise in the league for decades, as far as consistently pencil them in for the playoffs and being a winning season. A lot of that was the big fundamental, the amazing Tim Duncan. It's just so lucky and fortunate to have coached Tim Duncan. I know that Gregg Popovich, if he does any kind of speech near the end here, where he talks about his career and what he did, he's going to give a huge, huge credit and thank you to Tim Duncan. And he should. Because in some ways, I don't know if Gregg Popovich is who he is without Tim Duncan. And in some ways, you may be able to make the argument that Tim Duncan isn't who he is without Gregg Popovich. So it's interesting, man. I love Pop. I just want him to have better and better health outcomes. And, I'm glad that he can still be a part of the NBA, even if he can't be on the sideline coaching, because he is an icon in the NBA. And like I said, he's had such a huge influence. Different things like music has people like McCartney and Lennon and Hendrix that do really deep things to their genre and their music of the world. They had such a huge impact and influence that reverberates from what they did so long ago. Lennon and McCartney, Jimi Hendrix, people like that. That Popovich is apropos in that kind of way in the NBA. Seriously. The Beatles had such an influence on so many musicians in the years since that in some ways you can say the same thing about Gregg Popovich in basketball and coaching, that he's had a huge influence in all kinds of different ways, whether it's his coaching tree, whether it's the style and the way that he ran the Spurs franchise as both the coach and the GM, and keeping a solid core with winning consistently for so long. So long. That's right. Fiercely saying Coach Pop, now El Jefe. That's right. That's the new nickname for him. It's pretty funny. Well deserved, as he has the Spurs franchise at heart. 1000%. Yeah. He's just an amazing guy. And like I said, I think that naming the airport after him is a great honor. And that's not common. That is not common to get an airport named after you. Seriously. In some ways, that's huge. That's bigger than getting a street. That's for sure. That's bigger than getting a street, because that Popovich name will be all over that airport forever now. So, yeah, congratulations to the Knicks in eliminating the Celtics, the champions. It's fantastic stuff. I'm really, really happy that y'all did that. Y'all, if you want a good, healthy snack, get Dare's Veggie Crisps. It's a made in Canada product. And they're tasty, man. They're really tasty. And honestly, you get that chip hunger. You get a hankering for some chips, a snack. You could do so much worse with unhealthy snacks than these Veggie Crisps. So I'm telling you, go out and get them. Support Canada. support Canadian products. And that's what that is. That's right. Fiercely saying, even when losing, he would grate the opponent's coach and give them props. And his press conferences were funny, has no filter, laugh out loud. I think it's cool that he's so friendly and warm to his players, so friendly and warm to other coaches in the league, and like giving advice and being a mentor. And then he's so mean to the press. I love that so much. I love that he's like, DeMar loves Coach Popovich, and like there's a deep connection. It's very deep. And in some ways, Darko's that similar kind of coach. He's going to have those deep personal connections, just like Pop does. And that's great. I mean, in some ways, there's an influence of Pop that maybe Darko understood this. Is like he's seen Gregg Popovich and he said, I want to have the same kind of connection and relationship with my guys. And that's what I'm saying, where Popovich is influential. Then, like I said, he doesn't mind, like Fiercey's saying, greeting the other coach at the end of the game, giving a little bit of advice, maybe leaning in their ears, smiling, having a little laugh. The fraternity, camaraderie of the coaches is something that he's a leader in. And then you get him in the back, you put a microphone in front of him after the game, and he is standoffish. He is suspicious of those hacks that write for the NBA media, and he will tell them to their face. And some people said, yeah, we like Gregg Popovich for his career and all this, but man, we hated interviewing him. He was just really difficult back there. And sometimes he just got pissed at people, and he would yell at them, and he'd say, why are you asking such a dumb question? What is this about? Like, what are we here to talk about right now? He'd say stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you go. I mean, seriously, people that are like that with the press, they're no bullshit people. I respect Kyle Lowry, Gregg Popovich. They're like this. Michael Grange, you're going to come incorrect with some bullshit? Yeah, you deserve to get that garbage out of here, because we will come back at you with you got a dumb question. Well, snappy answer stupid questions, Mad Magazine. That's what I got to say right there. Kyle Lowry turn around and Michael Grange say, that's a dumb question, Michael, or saying something like that, or looking at him like this, like, yeah, that's totally warranted. And much utmost respect for Kyle Lowry, Gregg Popovich interview styles, and being standoffish with the press at times. In some ways, he'd use the platform politically for good things, Gregg Popovich, but he ain't having no nonsense. If somebody comes at him with some garbage, well, he's not going to mince words. He will give them exactly how he feels. And I like that, man. I really do. James said, I got all the Canadian goodies. I found a new website that has like grades for companies on how Canadian they are. And I'm going to start using it more soon. Right now, I'm still coasting on just kind of making stuff up every day. But I have tons of material for making the straight goods on the Canadian goods segment. So that segment's not going to go away anytime soon. And honestly, even if the trade war ends, I'm going to continue to do this segment because you started this shit, Donald. And we are going to support our economy better and better. And I'm going to help educate people here on how they can support Canadian workers, Canadian economy, Canadian products, and Canadian businesses more than ever. Look at what you opened up. Pandora's box. Old Lex is going to start talking more and more about Canada products, more and more, and we're going to get more pride in buying Canadian products. I was talking to the stock boy at the grocery store the other day, and I told him, I was like, yeah, I look at everything now and see where it comes from before I buy it. And this whole cart right here has nothing that's coming from the States, not a single damn thing. You say, wow, that's impressive. And I say, yeah, I'm telling you, you're a young man. You can start making good habits in your life right now to buy Canadian. And I told him about which gas stations he should buy gas at and all this stuff. He's like, man, thank you for the information. I'm going to start going to Pioneer and Ultramar gas stations. And I have them right near my house. I didn't even know that. I was like, that's what I'm saying. You share information, you get it out there, and more people know, and we can all get more on this. So I'm saying, man, buy Canadian, support Canada. U.S. wants to do this. We've been spending blindly money on American companies for years and years and years. We don't have to do this anymore. You don't need Starbucks. You can go to Second Cup. You don't need McDonald's. You can go to A&W. You can do the changes. Stop buying American gas or gas companies. Don't go to Shell. Don't go to Exxon, which is Esso. Go to Ultramar and Pioneer. Every little bit counts. Don't go to Home Depot. Go to Canadian Tire. I'm telling you, every little bit counts. And the more we direct our money to staying in our provinces, our country, our cities, our local little towns, the more the money stays in our economy, because we don't understand exactly how much of our money gets spent on American products and goes over into profits over across the border, y'all. If y'all understood just how much we actually help American businesses like Coca-Cola and McDonald's and Starbucks just blindly because that's brand recognition, y'all would be shocked. And why wouldn't we want to keep that money in our country for our employees and our workers to make money and have their lives off? That's what I'm saying right there. That's it. Boom goes the dynamite right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Practice what he preaches. That's right. That's right. I'm not going to tell y'all to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And in some ways, this is very important to me. That's right. Alan's here. Alan Tam. Bam, son. That's right. Game 7 tomorrow. Leafs versus Florida at 7:30 p.m. That's a big one right there. That's a big one. And this will be a turning point for Leafs Nation, one way or the other. Either there's going to be a successful turning point because they finally got the monkey off their back and they got past the Florida Panthers in the playoffs, or it's back to the drawing board and there's a whole kinds of crazy, like we failed again, energy and upsetness around the greater Toronto area in Ontario. Man, people up here are just as hyped about it up here where I live too. Leaf flags all over the countryside and tons of people coming out and supporting the Maple Leafs in the countryside out here where I live. So it's a big deal, not just the city folk down in downtown Toronto. It's a big deal to people right across in the Simcoe region and all across central Ontario. Trust me, they're really into it up here too. All right, let's see. What else do I want to do? I'm pretty much done, I guess. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, already did that. Happy birthday, Stam Albeck, the legend, and Hubert Davis. Hubert Davis. Yeah, Stan Albeck was actually a really important coach back in the day too, for a couple different reasons. He had a whole bunch of interesting history to his life also. So that's it, man. I'm gonna get done, y'all. If y'all don't have any more comments, thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. As promised, tomorrow I'll do a Sunday report on the annual ref report. I'm gonna crunch all the numbers on all of the referees from this past season, and I'm gonna have the rankings of the best refs, the worst refs, our win-loss record for the season with them, and how we trended with them. So we're going to find this out tomorrow, guys. Yeah, I'll let y'all know. Chris comes saying my dream draft. Common and Carter Bryant make my Raps dream come true. I don't know if we fit those at 9 and 39. I don't know if Carter Bryant will be available at 39. He's looking like a late top 10 pick at this point where they're mocking him now. In some ways, he's like either one of those guys would have to be at 9. Say Malawatch goes at 8 to Brooklyn. Do we take Carter Bryant at 9? Maybe that's what it is, Chris. We'll have to see. Dap to you, Seymour. Good to see you, man. W Stream. Thank you, Kaz. I appreciate that. And thank you, Isaac, for putting me on blast. And good day to you, great Chris. How do you predict tomorrow? Let's see. Go Leafs, go. Let's beat the Florida Panthers. How about that? Yeah. Avoid Rona, too, owned by a U.S. hedge fund. There you go. So avoid Rona. Yeah, I've always been a little suspicious of Rona. I've always been suspicious of Rona. My hardware store's hierarchy is go to a local one that's locally owned by a family. If they're in the home hardware network, that's fantastic. That's usually a good guess. Home hardware is really, really good because it's Canadian and it's most likely small business owned by a family and not like they have the umbrella of them, and Canada Tire is corporate. And in some ways, it's a great store as endorsed by Scotty Barnes, but it's also got issues in some ways. I wouldn't totally shop at Canada Tire as like my first pick, Canadian Tire. I would pick the independent hardware store, then the home hardware, and then maybe Canadian Tire. But this is good information on Rona. I've always been suspicious of Rona. I've always been suspicious of them. That's right. Blackhawk saying, nope, if Malawatch is gone at 8, then you go with Isunge at 9. What is this name, Neil? Isunge? Who is that? I don't even think I've heard that name yet. Man, you're bringing this out of the woodworks. You know something that Messiah and Bobby know that I don't know? Who is it? Who is that? You don't want to go Carter Bryant then? Or what about Asa Newell? I'm glad we're not even talking about Derek anymore. Derek is gone. Nobody's trying to talk about Derek anymore after his comment this week in his combine, man. None of the Raptors fans are all about Derek Queen at all. It's crazy. Noah Isenge. Okay, Noah. I do not know Noah. Oh, on that note, I'm out of here. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go Raptors. I'm gonna have to look them up. Let's go Raptors.